The EU-Mercosur deal isn't just another trade deal. This is a turning point for the European Union, and I mean an absolute turning point.
Europe has begun to respond. Since the US absorbs around 3/4 of the global current account deficit, diversifying away from its market is unrealistic in the short term. But, for example, the Mercosur deal with Latin America can offer relief for exporters.
In which the EU becomes much more powerful than anyone could have imagined. Well, you say, that sounds like you're blowing steam, Erika. No, I'm not blowing steam. I'm going to give you the facts, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Because right now, the European Union is a world hub for trade. It is the world hub for trade, with about 77 trade pacts. And the Mercosur deal, I'm going to tell you why this particular deal is a turning point. Well, first, let's look at a few facts about Mercosur, the Southern Common Market, which is a regional trade bloc in South America. And its objective is to promote a common space that generates business and investment. And in 1991, its founding members were Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay. Bolivia became a full member in 2024, and Venezuela's membership has been suspended since 2016. And the Mercosur agreement itself is a South American bloc. And one of the most significant recent developments is this trade pact with the European Union, which essentially has trade completely flowing freely between the two blocs. So you have the key provisions, which are tariff reductions and market access, sustainability, and geographical indications.
But that's the path to build independence. And this is what Europe is up to today. First, with diversification. We can look at other markets. In the last year alone, we have reached new trade deals, as you know, with Mercosur, with Mexico, with Switzerland. The agreement with Mercosur, for instance, will create a market of 770 million consumers. It's 1/4 of the global GDP.
Now, for a while, it faced opposition. It was a long time before it was finalized, but the European Union was greatly looking forward to completing the Mercosur deal, which is its largest deal ever, because it's going to take trade between both the EU bloc and Mercosur, which is 295 million citizens. And by the way, 295 million citizens, that's not a whole lot less than the United States. It's not a whole lot less than the United States, but now Mercosur is going to take those citizens, its citizens, combine them with the 450 million of the European Union, and you now have a trade bloc of about 700 million, 745 million citizens. That is why, in part, this trade deal is a turning point. Those 745 million are going to account for 25% of world trade. Now, the EU-US agreement accounts for 30% of world trade. So this agreement is almost on par with the amount with the United States, but actually has more free-flowing goods than the United States. So the reason that the Mercosur deal, and this is the moment you've been waiting for, is a turning point for the European Union, is because after this deal, technically, it doesn't need the United States. Or if the US does something crazy, or our dollar collapses, the European Union's economy is now successfully hedged.
Crucially, the answer to the current shift in US trade policies should be more, not less trade integration, both with trade partners around the globe, but also within the European Union. Trade integration, including free trade agreements, has been a driver of economic prosperity and can protect against unilateral trade measures. In fact, let me mention some ECB analysis that we have conducted recently. It indicates that closer integration with the rest of the world, so that means excluding the United States, could more than offset the losses incurred from unilateral tariffs, including retaliation. So the consequences that I have mentioned as a result of the tariffs and the retaliations could actually be offset by this further and deeper integration with the rest of the world.
And that's what the EU has been doing, and I've been reporting it on this channel, is hedging its economy. And Mercosur is the beginning of a final hedge, because the next country that they are tapping into for another major deal is India. So the European Union's roadmap for economic supremacy and for being a major power on the world stage is achieving it through economics. And on other videos, I will be talking about what they're doing internally to strengthen, but also through these trade pacts and becoming this hub for trade. There's no other empire right now in existence that this can even compare to being a trade hub at the scale of what is happening now with the European Union and all these trade pacts. I see in the United States, US President Donald Trump is working extremely hard for trade agreements and many other agreements for the United States. And these should have been worked on all along by various US presidents, not just US President Donald Trump. But I believe it's too late to fully catch up to the strides that Europe was making and the European Union was making with its trade deals that it was negotiating. But this Mercosur deal is a turning point because it officially marks the hedged economy. Now the economy is officially hedged with this deal, and it's going to continue to hedge so that any shocks that can come from any other continent will not destroy the Union, will not be a catastrophic economic event within the European Union. That is the benefit of being a world hub for trade. Hope you found this informative, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you don't, and let me know your comments below, and definitely stay tuned for more.